The Utah Jazz officially got John Collins for pretty much nothing. No, seriously, the official trade was John Collins to the Jazz and Rudy Gay along with a second-round pick to the Atlanta Hawks. It's almost like you can picture the Jazz general manager Justin Zanuck sitting in his big chair celebrating fleecing the Atlanta Hawks. Sure, Atlanta was probably just looking to dump salary here, but that's besides the point. The Utah Jazz's crazy plan is coming together, and they might just complete one of the fastest rebuilds of all time and shock the entire NBA. After years of being a semi-successful team with the duo of Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, the Jazz decided to blow it all up last year, trading Rudy Gobert to the Timberwolves and Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs. And honestly, the team couldn't have picked a better time to pull the plug on their roster. Rudy Gobert was getting up there in age, being 30 at the time, and Donovan Mitchell was just about to enter his prime at age 25. So the Jazz were able to maximize the value of both these players, especially with the Wolves trade that got them 5 solid young players and 5 first-round picks from a team that, well, frankly, could be a poor performer down the road, at least based on their track record. The only thing in the way of the Jazz drafting in the lottery for all these picks is Anthony Edwards, who is showing that he can be the guy for the Wolves and lead the team to wins. Regardless, these trades put the Jazz in a great spot for their rebuild, but then something happened that surprised everyone. The team was actually still winning games. Led by the most improved player of the year and unexpected all-star Lauri Markkanen, the Jazz started off the season hot, being just one of 4 teams with a top 10 defensive and offensive rating. Something just clicked with this core. Maybe they were all just hungry and wanted to prove people wrong. Maybe the fit was just that good. But either way, this Jazz team put the NBA on notice. They did eventually cool off and finish with a record of 37-45, but this was only 3 games out from the play-in, and again, this team was supposed to be dead last in the conference according to experts. Now, they added a very solid starter in John Collins for pretty much nothing, and this team is really starting to look dangerous. Taking a look at the Jazz's roster, they have a very interesting guard rotation with Colin Sexton, Talen Horton-Tucker, Jordan Clarkson, and Chris Dunn. Sexton and Clarkson are heavy producers on the offensive end of the ball, while Dunn and Horton-Tucker are both solid two-way players that provide the team with the perimeter defense that they need, which makes this rotation kind of a perfect pairing. Not only does Sexton have all-star potential as he develops, but Talen Horton-Tucker was once the Lakers' prodigy, getting praise from players like LeBron and AD.
He's a great learner, fast learner, and he comes in and give us everything. He can defend, he can make shots, as we've seen, make plays. Made a big 3, got to the basket for a layup, and made some great plays on the defensive end. So he don't get that much time, but he's always ready.
And with his unique build having a 7'1" wingspan, who knows? We could possibly see him develop into an all-star caliber player as well. Next, we have the forwards of the team, which is where things get rather interesting. The team already has Lauri Markkanen, who took on the role as the #1 guy for the team last season. And with Markkanen fulfilling his mandatory military service this summer, maybe we could see him come back and even be a bigger force next season. All jokes aside, the team also has other solid forwards such as Kelly Olynyk, Juan Toscano-Anderson, and Udoka Azubuike. Add John Collins to this rotation and you have a very balanced lineup that could definitely do some damage on the court. But what's the franchise's long-term plan here? Sure, they have talent that meshes well together, but it's not like they're anywhere near a championship right now. Well, as interesting as it could be for the Jazz to pull a reverse rebuild and trade for a star this offseason, it just wouldn't be the right thing to do. The only real stars left on the market this offseason are potentially Damian Lillard, and we all know that he wouldn't go to Utah if he were to demand a trade after 3 years of the same thing happening. This year just isn't the right year for the Jazz to make a move, but their master plan could see them land a star next offseason. Next year, a ton of superstar players will be hitting the market. Just some of these names include Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Sabonis, DeRozan, and DeJounte Murray. If the Jazz could just add one of these players to their roster that has a cast of elite role players, there's a good chance that they could make a deep playoff run and hey, maybe even a finals appearance. But that's the problem. problem. What are the odds that any of these free agents choose Utah as their destination? Sure, the team would be solid and all they need is a star to lead the team, but let's be honest, all of these players want to go to a large market like LA or Miami. But what if there was another way to get a star? And not just any star, LeBron James. As you all know, the 2024 draft is the infamous Bronny James draft class, and LeBron has said before that he'll join whatever team drafts Bronny. ESPN just released a 2024 mock draft where Bronny James fell all the way to the Atlanta Hawks at the 17th overall pick. The Jazz were projected to have the 6th pick in this draft, and although there's a good chance that they'll have a better record after the John Collins trade and fall in the lottery, they will still likely be above 17th overall. So what if this team picked Bronny James in the draft? Sure, this is a pretty big gamble, but this is a team that has all of their draft picks and picks from the Wolves and Cavs trades for the next decade. So why not take a chance on Bronny and LeBron for one season and try and win a championship? Not only would this move get LeBron and his son, but it could also open up the door to getting another star talent on the roster. You'd think that at least one other star in the NBA would want to try and help LeBron win a title in his last year in Utah. So maybe, just maybe, the Jazz could make a trade or sign someone in the same offseason to a long-term deal. And in this case, even after LeBron leaves the team the following year, the Jazz would still have a #1 player to build around. Bron may be slowing down a little bit athleticism-wise, but he still averaged fantastic numbers last season, and he could definitely be a #1 or even 2 option worst case on a championship team the year that the Jazz could sign him. Obviously, the team should not approach next season as if they're gonna get LeBron James in the offseason, because there's a chance that Bronny shows out at USC and goes way higher in the draft than people think. Or even during the draft, someone trades for a pick just to get Bronny and LeBron James on their team. But what the Jazz should do is build chemistry, analyze who their best core of role players is, and push for a star the following offseason to complete their roster. Because there will be a whole lot of stars available, like I mentioned. Even though they aren't the most attractive destination, they could perhaps pull off a sign and trade or regular trade to get a star in Salt Lake City, with or without LeBron James. And hey, even if they go the slow route and build the team through the draft, this roster is in a great position to become a consistent playoff team once again within the next few years. But I personally think it's safe to say that Utah Jazz fans wouldn't mind using one of their many picks to take a chance on Bronny James and perhaps make one last finals run with LeBron.